God has plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future too. So let me remind you of what you have the power to do.
You've been on a journey, trying to find your way. Like the sun, you're rising, 'cause today's your day to unlock every gift inside. Let your potential flow. Don't let anybody kill your vibe. Time to bust up and show. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Act like you know you can win. Live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra. They said you'd never make it, but you're still here. Kept on pushing through all your doubts and fears. Never let a hater see you sweat. Remember who you are. When they go low, let them reap what they sow while you go far. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Baby, shine like a star. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra. If you got haters, they gon' hate. Keep your head up and just be great. It's your season, your winning season with Cassandra. Rise up, time to get on your grind. Go after your dreams, no time to fall behind. Push till the end and never give in. It's your winning season, get ready to win. Keep moving forward and never look back. It's time to get motivated with Cassandra Mack. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack.
Welcome back. This video is part 2 of the aftermath of cutting off a toxic person. In part 1, we talked about what to expect as far as the emotions that you may go through when you cut off a toxic person. This video is going to focus on how the toxic person may react to being cut off, whether you have went low contact or totally no contact. One of the things about going no contact with someone who has been very toxic to you is when you are not prepared for the aftermath. Like you believe you cut them off and everything is just going to go so smoothly. Not always. And if you are not prepared, you'll be like a deer caught in headlights, not knowing what to expect, completely unpinned. So when you cut off a toxic person and go no contact, it's important to understand that their reaction is going to depend on their personality. Now, you know the toxic person in your life. I don't. So you want to approach the situation through the lens of reality. What is the fruit that you have been experiencing with this person, and you think that's automatically going to stop because you've restricted access? Not necessarily. So it's going to depend on their level of entitlement. So when you're dealing with entitled people who have the entitled mindset that they can do whatever they want to do to other people, but goodness forbid if you check them about their behavior, or if you treat them the way they treat you, they can't handle it. They can dish it, but they can't take it. So it's going to depend on their level of entitlement. It's going to also depend on how much control they believe they're losing. So if this was a person who felt like they were in control of the relationship, they were in control of the dynamic between the two of you, and now they don't have access to you to be able to belittle you, to be able to provoke you to become angry because they're teasing you and humiliating you, right? They are losing a sense of control and manipulation. So this is important. If they believe they're losing their image because they present a fake image to people who don't really know them, but you know the real person because you are dealing with them in their day-to-day, in your day-to-day, or you have a high level of discernment. And so you were able to penetrate the mask to see the real individual you're dealing with, but they got everybody else fooled. You got to remember that that is threatening to the image that they want to portray to the world. So if they are afraid that you are going to let people know about the experience you had with them, then things may not go so smoothly. So here are some ways they may react so that you are not unprepared. Number one, deflect and deny. So you may have a friend, a family member, somebody who you were involved with romantically, and you've decided that, you know what, I have had enough. I have had enough of you. I've had enough. I can't take another day in your presence. And so when somebody brings you to that point where you have just had enough and you are settled in your decision, and let's say that you converse with them about it, like you tell them why. So this is where you got to be careful. You're going to have to be prayerful in terms of, should you have a conversation about it or should you just move in silence? So I cannot tell you that because you know the personality you're dealing with. You need to know, is it even safe for you to have a conversation if you feel you need closure, or do you just give yourself the closure by remembering your reason why you've elected to go no contact? That can be the closure that you need. So you're going to have to be prayerful about that. Keep your safety in mind. Keep the other person's personality in mind. So they may deflect and deny if you decide to confront them. And they may turn it around on you. Well, what do you mean? Everybody says that you are so controlling when they are the controlling one. And everybody says that, you know, you have such a messed up personality and that's why nobody likes you. And let's say you're confronting them because they've stolen from you. They've stolen money from you and they were the only person in your home. And this happened on 2 occasions. The 2 times they were in your home, they have stolen money from you. The first time you suspected, the second time you put a camera. So you have proof. It's not just a thought. It is proof. Now you confront them and they get real nasty. So don't be surprised. And I did a whole video on how you mad at me for what you did. Like, how are you angry at me for doing me dirty? But there will be people who are so entitled, so narcissistic, that they will do you absolutely despicable, demonic, and dirty, and will turn around and catch an attitude with you for calling them out on their foolery, on their wickedness. So don't be shocked when a person denies and deflects. And you're like, I got the video. I'm showing you the footage of you going in my drawer when I was in the kitchen and taking money out of my drawer or my purse. Here's the footage. Well, what kind of friend are you that you would be recording me? What kind of friend are you that you will be putting me under surveillance? You are a horrible friend. You are the worst person in the world, and you set me up. You set me up. That's entrapment. And you're like, huh? You came in my home while I'm cooking a meal because I'm showing you good hospitality. And I'm preparing a meal for us or making some lemonade, whatever it is you're doing. You in my room, unbeknownst to me, going through my wallet, going through my pocketbook. And the first time I was missing money, I had the inkling that, wait a minute, the only time I was missing money is when this chick was in my house, when this guy was in my house. And, you know, I'm not sure. So, you know, maybe I said, okay, I'm going to let it go because I don't have any proof. I asked you about it. You said, no, I would never steal from you. How could you even come to me about that? And it's weeks later, I invite you to my home. And I was like, you know what? Just to be sure, let me put the camera up. Or maybe it's a family member. And I caught you red-handed. And you want to argue with me about the camera, not your thievery. Make it make sense. So don't be shocked when they deny and they deflect and they're moving like a whole monster, but playing the victim. So don't be shocked. So they may explode in anger. They may be like, that's preposterous. This is so outrageous. How could you accuse me? And you're like, if you don't stop with your lying behind, I got the video footage and you sitting here playing like I'm boo the fool. Then when you confront them, well, that's the problem. You have a lot. You make a lot of money. You make six figures. You know I'm struggling and you are so selfish. Or you think, and you're like, huh? I'm selfish because I'm calling you out. What do the amount of money that I make have to do with you going in my wallet, crossing a boundary, sneaking behind my back, lying? Because it's the second time it happened. The first time you done lied and you were upset that saying that I accused you. So the second time I said, well, let me put a camera just to make sure. When I should have cut you off the first time. And you're upset, make it make sense. You sound insane. So do understand that when you're dealing with someone who is warped and entitled, they will explode in anger. They may even send aggressive texts, voicemails. They might insult you, blame you, try to guilt trip you to get you to apologize. You know what? I'm so sorry that I suspected you of being a thief, and I apologize for setting up cameras around my home because something didn't sit well with me and I wanted to have proof before saying anything to you about it. You know, I'm totally at fault for having cameras in my home. What a horrible, this is what they want you to say. Do it make sense? So they will even smear your reputation because you have to remember, and I'm using the person who stole from you, but it can be something else. You have to remember that when a person does something to you and you caught them red-handed and you call them out on it, that's why you gotta be careful about calling people out. And you have to be prayerful about that. There's times where it's warranted and there's times where you're going to have to move in silence. Maybe you just give the footage to the police, whatever you decide to do. Or maybe you choose not to press charges because it wasn't a whole lot of money. Maybe it was $20 and you're like, you know what, I'm just cutting them off for good. Like, I'm not going to go through, doing all of that. I mean, you would have to decide. It's your life. So whatever you are being led to do. So, and by led by God. So do know that some will smear your reputation because they want to get in front of the story, right? So that you remember you got footage of this thing. Or maybe this was one of your so-called friends who made a romantic play for your husband or your wife. And they sent provocative photos and your husband or wife showed it to you. And your husband or wife didn't take the bait. They showed it to you. And let's say they have your husband or wife's phone number because they're a friend of the family, like you've known them both for years, right? So you have this proof because you have the pictures. And then they turn the story around and say, well, you were having an affair and, you having an affair. And I believe that your husband or wife deserves better than you. And you're not having an affair. But remember, they're grasping at straws because you caught them red-handed. And they want to save face. And so they will try to ruin your reputation. And they will tell everybody you were having an affair. And your spouse came to them for counsel. And your spouse said that they were divorcing you because they caught you cheating. And that they were going to build a life together. And you're like, huh? The spouse never said this. You are insane. I need you to understand this. I know you're not going to understand because what I'm saying is not computing. Because you live in your own reality. And so do understand that they will smear you. And if you are shocked by this, you are going to be sourly disappointed. So they will tell people you're crazy, selfish, unreasonable, and they will try to get in front of their bad behavior to do damage control. So they're going to try to make up something to make it sound like it's plausible why they would do the thing that they're doing. So don't be shocked. I have had people do me all kinds of dirty with a capital D. And still try to be wrong and strong. It's like I have proof of what you said. I have proof. Well, you took it out of context. How can I take this out of context? How? What's the context? So don't be shocked. Here's the other piece. They may start love bombing you. And love bombing is not limited to a romantic relationship. This can be friends and family. So if the person senses that they're losing control, they might suddenly become overly sweet, sending fake apologies, fake promises to change, but you don't see fruit. Remember, the Bible is very clear. The Bible tells us that we know them by their fruits, right? You will know them by their fruits. And so you will have someone who may apologize, but their heart is not repentant. Matthew 7:16 says, you'll know them by their fruits, right? Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? And so if you're looking for a grape, meaning you're looking to be fed, that's what a grape will do. You can eat a grape. Grape is fruit. But look at the question the scripture is asking. The scripture is asking, is it even possible to gather a grape from a thorn bush? And the answer is no. A thorn bush can only produce thorns. So when you have a friend or so-called friend or family member or somebody you're dealing with intimately, romantically, and they keep producing thorns in your life, they keep pricking at your peace, pricking at your joy, pricking at your self-respect, pricking at your purpose, pricking at your destiny, you can't get fruit from that. And so you know them by their fruit. That's what you know them by. So they may promise to change, but you don't see genuine change, and they may flatter you. They'll use a lot of flattery. What does the Bible tell us about flattery and charm? It tells us charm is deceitful, and it tells us flattery spreads a net for your neighbor's feet, right? A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. That's what the Bible says. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. That's Proverbs 29:5. And by man, it means mankind. That's man or woman. So look at what it's saying. When you flatter somebody, what you're doing is you're setting up a trap, because flattery is insincere praise. It is not a genuine compliment. It is insincere praise, often tied to an ulterior motive, hidden agenda, strings attached. So there's a string attached. The person is being nice, not kind. They're being nice because they want access to you again. They're being nice, not kind, because they don't want you to tell somebody else the experience you had with them. If this is a coworker who has stolen your work and is trying to pass it off as their own, they are being nice because they do not want you to tell the supervisor. And so there is a hidden agenda. It is not sincere. So be very clear that this is not genuine change. It is a tactic to pull you back in. Right? We know people by their fruit. Not only that, we are not to believe every spirit, right? The Bible says, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have went out into the world, right? And a false prophet is not limited to somebody in a pulpit church ministry setting stating false prophecies. It is also somebody that's simply professing something that is not true. So if someone is professing that they have changed, but they only want access back into your life so that they can manipulate, dominate, control, mistreat, lie, and deny, then you already know what it is. You know what it is. So this is important to keep this in mind, right? You got to keep that in mind. And you got to remember not to believe every spirit. That's 1 John chapter 4, verse 1, but test the spirit. So don't believe, even if they try to act like they are coming to you in the spirit of genuineness, in the spirit of truth, in the spirit of sincerity, in the spirit of friendship, in the spirit of love. Listen, they've already failed the test by stealing your work and passing it off as their own. They've already failed the test by stealing money from you when you was in the kitchen making lemonade or making some, whatever you were making some good food. Here's the other thing they may do. They may play the victim. I lost count of the numbers, but I think that's number 3. So they may play the victim. They may act hurt and betrayed. And when they do this, right, they're often trying to get in front of the narrative. So they may act hurt and betrayed, telling mutual friends or family how you wronged them. So I had someone actually do this to me. So this person was talking about me like a dog. I cut them off, right? Totally. And they're like, I don't know why. You know, she never calls me anymore. And I don't know why. You know why? You know why. It's not my job to give you a farewell speech when you are being toxic towards me. It is not my responsibility. You are not my minor child. It's not my responsibility to spell it out in red crayon. I'm not your kindergarten teacher. And so they will act hurt and betrayed. And I'm talking about a person who knows they've done you dirty, right? So it could be a situation where they thought they hung up the phone. This happens. They thought they hung up the phone, but they didn't hang up the phone. And maybe they are in the car talking to somebody else, or they have someone in their home. And they think they hang up the phone. You just got off the phone with them. And they are talking about you like a dog. And you are looking in disbelief at what you are hearing. And then if you confront them, they want to play the victim and they want to act so hurt. Well, why would you be eavesdropping? Missy, you forgot to hang up the phone. This is on you. Why are you gossiping about me? Let's talk about that. Well, why are you eavesdropping? You have no trust. Well, a good thing I have no trust and I didn't trust your lying behind spirit. Because if it did, I wouldn't know what a snake you were. So I'm glad you didn't hang up the phone, and I overheard what you didn't mean for me to hear. So they'll act hurt and betrayed. Telling mutual friends and family how you wronged them, and telling their friends and family. This is a big one because you don't have access a lot of times to their friends and family. Mutual ones you do. So for their friends and family who are hearing what a horrible person you are, remember, they don't have the recording that you have, or they didn't overhear what you overheard, or if it was recorded, they don't have the recording. So all they have to go on is what this lying person is telling them. So because of this, they're going to believe that person's story because they have history with that person. They don't know you from a can of paint. I'm not talking about mutual friends. I'm talking about their friends. So this is why you might meet somebody who knows this person and they have a negative reaction. And you're like, what did I do to this person? Why are they acting flaky and funny? Like I kidnapped their children or I did something horrific to them. It's because that person is playing the victim, spreading lies about you. So they're getting in front of the narrative. They're doing a whole PR campaign. So don't be shocked. This is what I'm getting at. If you're not prepared for this, you're going to find yourself frustrated to the 10th power. So they will act hurt and betray. They may claim they don't understand why you're doing this, even if you explain yourself clearly. So they're being willfully ignorant. They understand. They don't want to be accountable. Because to say, yes, I do understand that I was wrong for going in your room and stealing money out of your purse when you were making lemonade. That was wrong of me. I should not have done that. They don't want to say that. Instead, they want to say, well, you got a good job. You're not going to miss it. How are you justifying stealing? You could have asked me, would I lend it to you or give it to you? How do you justify stealing? Well, I know you wouldn't give it to me, so you a mind reader, you telepathic. On top of a thief, we got a telepathic thief. Child, we got a telepathic thief. Why you got to be so I'm nasty? You stealing from me, telepathic thief. So, do understand. They're going to be upset. They'll recruit enablers to pressure you into breaking contact. Well, she says that she don't know why you don't. She knows. She knows. So this is something that they may do. And here's another tactic that a person will do when they are extremely toxic and they don't want to be accountable. They'll act like they cut you off. The story that they're going to tell people is they cut you off. It's like, think about like when you were in college or high school and you was dating somebody and you broke up with them, and they tell everybody they broke up with you. Yeah, I heard he broke up with you. I heard Sam broke up with you. I heard Sally broke up with you. And you're like, huh? Yeah, he said he was just so tired of you, couldn't take you no more, and he wanted to date Pamela instead. Huh? That did not happen. That did not happen. That did not happen. Here's the text. Here's the email. I'm joking about the text or the email. But even if you have proof, then you're considered petty for having proof. So it's like you can't win either way when you're dealing with someone who pretends to be a victim, but they move like a snake. They pretend to be a victim, but they move like a monster. They pretend to be a victim, but they move like a monster or a snake. They pretend to be angelic, and they out here being whole demons. They on demon time. They're on demon time, but they're pretending they're on angel time. So they will say that they cut you off first with a made-up story. And then people who know you mutually may start distancing themselves from you, and you're like, why is everybody distancing themselves? What happened? And then somebody tells you the story. Oh, well, so and so said that you stole from them, and you're like, huh? They don't have nothing to steal. They stole from me. Here's the footage. And then when you show the footage, why are you ruining her reputation? She's lying on me. What do you expect me to do? I don't know what to do. Should I give it to the police? I don't know. I'm at my wit's end. So I'm joking to kind of lighten up the heaviness. The heaviness. Because these things hurt. These things are not fair. These things make us angry. But if we don't give them to God, we could easily be the person on the end of the rope who's spazzing out and crashing out. And we don't want to be that person. Right, believers? Right, people of God? We got to remember, we're people of God. So as people of God, we don't want to be spazzing out and crashing out. And so do understand that you may be dealing with this. Also, you may deal with monitoring. So let's say that you cut this person off, totally block them on all social media. And they may make up dummy accounts and they're following you on social media, commenting on every post. You have mutual friends and it gets back to you that they're commenting on every post. And you're like, I done blocked them. How would they comment normal stuff? And the person that you know mutually lets you know because they're monitoring you. So you're now dealing with a monitoring spirit as well. So don't be surprised if they still know what's going on in your life because they are monitoring. You got to remember that when you're dealing with someone who is toxic, and especially a person where that toxicity towards you is rooted in envy or entitlement, right? So a person who has an entitled mindset, in their mind, they're thinking, who are you to block me? You don't get to block me. I block you. You don't get to block me. I can go wherever I want to go. That's entitlement. You don't get to block me from coming to visit you. You don't get to block me from coming to visit you. And there are people with that mindset. So you know the toxic person that you're dealing with. And you know if it's wise for you to move in silence and just cut them off quietly, or if you're going to have a conversation about it. You got to be prayerful. That I cannot tell you because I don't know the person that you're dealing with that's toxic. I don't know them personally. You're the one that has history with them. You're the one that has the information and the insight based on experience to know what's going to be the wisest and safest course of action for you. But at least by knowing what to expect, you can begin to gauge how you should move moving forward. And so I hope that this was helpful for you. And for those of you who are, again, wanting to have a difficult conversation with an individual, if God is leading you to do that, so either he's leading you to just move in silence, don't say nothing, and just a quiet cutoff, or if you are being led to have a conversation, but you're apprehensive, again, I am having a workshop coming up. It's the last Saturday of the month, and it is called How to Manage a Difficult Conversation with Confidence, Clarity, and Calm. And this is a Zoom on-camera workshop, so all my workshops require us to be on camera. So if your camera's shy, my workshops won't be the right fit for you. And we're going to be diving into, how do you address sticky situations, tough subjects that you're apprehensive about, but from a place of grace? How do you remain calm even if the other person is unhinged? How do you decide if you need to say, you know what? This conversation is going left and I just need to cut my losses completely because this is not going to work. Like, how do you begin to decipher that? So this workshop is going to give you an opportunity to ask me live Q&A about your specific situation. Not only get feedback from me, but other workshop participants. All of my Zoom workshops come with a work booklet, which is digital. So it is not a physical book, but it is a digital book that you receive as a PDF file, which you can then download and print out on your own for use during and after the workshop to continue your growth. So if this is something you're dealing with, you may want to come to this workshop to get some tips and tools. So I have quite a few workshops coming up over the summer. For more information, visit the website, CassandraMacMinistries.com, CassandraMacMinistries.com, and click on the link that says training events. And that'll bring up the different workshops that are happening over the summer if any of them interest you. I always like to make sure that you know what's available outside of the public videos, because the public videos are simply a stepping stone to all the other programs that we have. And it just gives you a small fraction of the depth and width of our teaching. So if you want to go deeper, if you want strategy, if you want specific tactics, that's going to come by coming to a workshop. You can join the Wellness Club. That'll come by the Wellness Club as well. Or a lot of you ask me, do I do one-on-one coaching? I don't have a lot of time, so it's very spaced out. You may have to book weeks in advance, but I do have some slots available, and there is a link in the video description box if you're feeling stuck and you want to get unstuck and you want to do that in a private one-to-one. So that is available. You'll see the link in the video description box that'll take you to the coaching calendar to see what my availability is if that's something that you would like to pursue. So what else? So I want to make sure to tell you. So if you are dealing with haters, and of course a toxic person in many regards is a hater, you can pick up the book Rise Above the Haters. That book is going to help you develop your inner resources so that you can keep on moving forward in your life despite who's hating on you, who doesn't want to see you win. And that haters, even if they try to knock you down, they can't keep you down. So that book is going to help you in that regard. And then there's the Spiritual Warfare Prayers book, that's Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare. And so there is a spiritual warfare element to dealing with someone who is in a toxic demonic space, right? Ephesians 6:12 tells us we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And so this lets us know that the real fight is not the tangible thing we see, right? That is part of the fight, but the root cause is always going to be something spiritual. So that book, Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare, gives you tactical, practical, Bible-based prayers for dealing with spiritual warfare. And there's also a spiritual warfare assessment that you can take that guides you through a series of questions designed to help you decipher if what you're dealing with is actually spiritual warfare, if there's more going on than meets the eye. That's Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare. And the link to all my books are in the video description box. And you're always welcome if you want a place to just come and get refueled and refresh your soul, refuel your spirit, renew your mind. Every Sunday we have a telephone service. It's the Sunday Hour Power. Affectionately, people call it church by phone. So you dial in and you can join us by phone. And more information can be found at CassandraMacMinistries.com. Click on the tab that says Church by Phone. Last but not least, I want to thank those of you who support this ministry, this channel, with your financial donations. We could not do what we do without your financial donations. So if you find it in your heart that this channel is a blessing to you and you would like to sow into the channel or the ministry, the channel is part of our ministry, you can do so by going to CassandraMacMinistries.com, clicking on the button that says donate, and you can follow the prompts from there, or maybe you want to give a super thanks if that's in your heart. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves. Let's do our best to be kind to one another.